G'day, Jace here from Blown Gaskets, having a crack at making my very first YouTube video. So I've knocked off work for the day and got home, and the postie has brought me some parts all the way from England for my 1972 Triumph 2000 that I call Elisabeth. So Elisabeth's been playing up a little bit lately. She's, idling terribly, which I can live with, you know. But when we go for a drive, we'll be sitting on 80, 90 kilometres an hour, and she just decides she needs a bit of a break. So she'll just button off and lose all power, make some horrible noises. We'll slow down to 60-ish kilometres an hour, and then she'd reset and go again. So I've been trying to track this problem down for months now. So it takes me a while because I've got no mechanical background or training. I make cheese for a living. Everything I figure out through trial and error, mostly error, and it takes me a while. So I've gone through carbies and found issues with carbies and done carbie swaps, and I've still got this niggling bloody issue. And just lately, it happens all the time. I can't take Elisabeth out in past the 80 kilometre an hour zone before she starts playing up. So today, we've got some parts turned up that are hopefully going to sort this issue out. So we'll go and have a look at those parts, and then we'll swap some cars around because clearly that's not a Triumph. And we'll do a bit of work on Elisabeth, and we'll see if we can swap a distributor over, because that's where I think I've got my problems. I'll show you why I think that's a problem with mine. I did do a little video a couple of weeks ago when I found a problem with the distributor, and well, hopefully these parts will sort it out. Thought I'd do a little demonstration of my distributor woes. So this is a Lucas Australia 29D distributor, and it's a bit wobbly in there. So as I'm driving along, that causes all sorts of issues, and poor old Elisabeth, she's running a bit crook at the moment. I just thought I'd do a demonstration on how bad she is. I've got a new distributor coming in, so I'm hoping to do a part 2 to this. Isolator. To demonstrate any changes with a new distributor. So she's idling a bit rough, and the points are jumping around all over the place in there because the distributor's wobbling around all over the place in there. She's causing all sorts of things to happen with the timing. I don't know if that's coming out on the video too well, but the timing's jumping around all over the place, and I'm convinced that's to do with the points gap being changed on a regular basis by the movement in the distributor. So that's the problem I have at the moment. I have a new electronic distributor coming. I'm going to bolt that in and hopefully do a part 2 to this video, and hopefully we get Elisabeth purring like a kitten again. This is a brand new electronic distributor. It is a reproduction 45D6 with an electronic conversion installed. My Triumph distributor is very difficult to get parts for, and I believe I'm having all sorts of trouble with the distributor because it's just worn out. It's got all sorts of play and things that move in there that shouldn't. So 2 parts of the box. I assume this is probably the coil. Yes, coil. Yes, ignition coil. So I can run my electronic distributor, because yeah, ordinary coil does not do the job. And here's the electrical wizardry that I hope will cure some of the problems I have with my Triumph. Instructions from PowerSpark, well, that's what we've got. Negative earth, yes, that's what we want. I'll probably just ignore them. Let's see what we have in the box. It's very difficult one-handed. One hand, two knees. Here we go. Oh. Hours of fun. Bubble wrap. Yay! It really is difficult with one hand. I'm going to have to find a better way of doing this. Anyway, brand new, shiny, electronic 45D6 distributor. So, on first inspections, it's very hefty, so it feels fairly solid. yeah, I really do hope that that does the job. Well, I think I'll do another video, or extend this video, and let's do a video of me putting that into the Triumph. Very fiddly, these little things. Okay, nearly there. Right. Out we come. Okay, in with the new. Let's see how this goes in. I have oiled the O-ring. Just over there. Here we go. Well, that is in. Try and find the retaining bolt holes. Red button is close to where the other one was, not quite. I think we can work with that though. Right. Now the new distributor only has one locating bolt, whereas the original had two. That I think they're there. Coil. It's a bit tedious sometimes, doesn't it? I have noticed that this distributor has got a male earth wire on it, which won't work with a male terminal on the coil, so I'll have to just make something to go between them there in a second. When this video does actually come out, I'll make it look like I've done it in a 5-minute job, but I can guarantee you there will be lots and lots and lots of edited stuff that I've just chopped out of this. Right. Taco. An extra long positive lead, which I might put on the other side there, I think. Keyed power. And that has to go onto there, which won't work at the moment. Okay, we're back. I've just whipped it out again so I can crimp on these terminals, because this was a male to male, which wouldn't work, and this one was just ridiculously long, so we've trimmed that back adequately, and yeah, happy with that. The next thing I was doing, I was putting the cap on, and I realised things aren't sitting where they were on the old cap, so I did like for like this cap with the other one, but things were a bit different and it wasn't sitting straight and pretty, so I've marked number 1, where I'm pretty sure number 1 is. This cap just doesn't sit nicely either, so right. Right. Coil. Aren't very nice leads I've got here either. They're just too long and yeah, yuck. So one day I'm going to get a bit technical with them and trim them down. So I know this should, all being right, be number 1. So 1. Now firing order is, I wrote it down, 1, 5, 3, 6, 2, 4. So 1. 5, 3, 6, 2. It's a long lead for number 4. 4. Okay. Power. Taco, negative. I'm not going to worry about the vacuum. Oh yes, we can worry about the vacuum line for now. Let's just pop him on there. A little bit ugly, but we'll get there. Right. Fingers crossed. Power. I'll just snug that down. Middle. Yeah, that should still be okay. I don't want it too loose, but I don't want it too tight. I want to be able to still move a little bit, because I'm sure it might take a bit of wiggling to find where it's going to run. Okay. All being equal, prime that fuel line. No tools left where they shouldn't be. I'll turn the battery on. There's no smoke, that's a good sign. Okay, moment of truth. Do you like my light? Broom handle, sticky tape, light. Works. Okay, round we go. Okay. Let's here, with your choke. Key, ignition. Let's see if we've got the leads around the right way. Oh, it's going to go. With throttle. It will run. Maybe let's, yeah, a bit more of that. Yeah. Nope. Wrong way, go back. Let's go that way. Oh, close. We're getting close. Oh. It's just promising. Maybe a little more choke. Okay. Too much. It's like it's not getting any fuel there. I'm confident it'll run. It's not popping and backfiring, so I'm sure those leads are on correctly. It just can't see fuel filling up in that filter, so I'm not sure what's going on there. I'll just prime it up a little bit more maybe. Need a bit of a wiggle on the distributor again. Let's see what it does this time. So close. So close. We have a winner. Well, Elisabeth lives again. She's not exactly running sweet, but we'll work on that. I'll put a timing light on that and dial in those carbies a little bit better. But I'm going to call it a night now. It's getting late. Well, it's not really. It's only about 6 p.m. But a fella's got to get up and go to work at 2 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, it's time to have a feed and go beddy boys. And you like my red wall tyres? They're pretty cool, aren't they? Well, I like them. Anyway, Elisabeth lives. Stay tuned. We might tune this thing up a little bit tomorrow. Alright, it's been a couple of days since I did a distributor swap in Elisabeth, and I've brought her out of the shed and I've driven her out to my back veranda. I like doing a lot of work out here in the back veranda. It's just off the family room. I can have a conversation with the wife and she can bring me out coffees and beers and stuff. So anyway, I found out why she didn't start straight up after swapping the distributor. Found a little issue there, so we'll talk about that. And then I thought what we do is we'll do a cold start, and when she warms up a bit, we'll go for a bit of a road test and see how she goes. So let's go and have a look at the engine bay. Rightio, back in the engine bay. Now the other night when we got Elisabeth running after we installed our new distributor, initially it wouldn't start straight up. It'd run for a second and cut out, run for a second and cut out. Now all those adjustments I made, twisting the distributor left and right to adjust the timing to get it to run, none of those were big enough for her not to run. So then I thought it might have been a fuel delivery issue because there wasn't a lot of fuel in that filter, but the fuel bowls and the carburetors would have been full, so it wouldn't have been that. So what I actually discovered, that this wire here is 12 volt from key. Now the end on that was pretty daggy, and I crimped on a new terminal, and voila, seemed to fix the issue. So I thought, oh well, that's the issue. But then it reoccurred. I'd turn the car on, it'd run for a fraction of a second, stop, run for a fraction of a second, stop. So somewhere between the coil and the ignition switch, there's either a loose connection, a broken wire or some such thing, or it could be all the way from the battery to the ignition switch. I don't know. I haven't actually found the fault, but I wiggled stuff and now it works fine, which is a problem because when something's broken, you find it, you fix it, issue solved. But when you've just wiggled stuff and now it seems to work, we haven't fixed anything and that issue may reoccur. So I'm a bit worried about that. So I have made this. It's a piece of wire with a terminal one in and an alligator clip the other. So if my issue does reoccur, and you can guarantee it'll do that at traffic lights or cruising down the freeway, and I lose connection to that coil, the car will stop. So I've just made that little wire, and all I'll do is I'll run that from 12 volt positive coil to the battery positive, and well, that'll get me home. So that's what we're going to do with that. Okay, Elisabeth, cold start. First thing we've got to do is turn on the battery isolator. Now I normally prime the fuel pump Triumphs have got a manual primer underneath the fuel pump to pump fuel through, but there's still fuel in that filter from when I was running this thing yesterday afternoon. So I'll give it some choke, hit the key. And there she is, Elisabeth cold start. Cranks over incredibly well, so I don't know if that's the tuning I've done or whether that's that new distributor coming into play. Anyway, we'll let her warm up and then we'll go for a test drive. Right, here we are taking Elisabeth for a test drive. I found a road just on the outskirts of town here that's got a 100km/h speed limit. So we're going to try and see how our new distributor goes. So the issue I had before with Elisabeth was that if I'm driving along at a constant speed about 85-90 km/h, the thing would just bog down and lose all power. So after a bit of investigation and chasing issues with carbies, I've found that I think it was the distributor and the issue I had with the distributor with that vertical plate on the points plate. So I think what was happening is it would move in such a fashion that the vacuum advance would pull on that plate and get to a point and it would cock slightly vertically, and that would close the points gap up. And I think closing the points gap up like that would cause the issue. So I'm going to take it down this road. I'm going to take it up to about 85-90 km/h and try and hold a constant pace there for a little while and just see if the issue came in. Towards the end there, it was just coming in all the time. It was just a constant issue. So let's take Elisabeth out to 85-90 km/h and we'll see what issues we have. Now I hope this is coming out okay. I don't have any fancy equipment. I've just got a phone strapped to the headrest of the passenger seat with a couple of rubber bands. So, you know, it's not the smoothest road in the world either. So hopefully we can achieve what we want to achieve. So at the moment I'm just touching 75 km/h. Here we are at about 80. It's not far from where we have our issue constantly. So I'm going to sit about 85-90, which is about 2600-2700 RPM I was having this issue. With these hills and these lines in the road, it's going to be a little bit tricky to maintain. So we're sitting on 85, sort of 90, just on that lower bit. Now, I'm quite happy because if I would have done this a week ago, the car would have been bogging down and like a massive misfire and just a lack of power. It wouldn't shut down, so the points gap wasn't closing completely, but I'm hoping my issues are solved by this electronic distributor conversion, because if they're not, I've spent a lot of money to not fix the problem. So, still poking along at between 80 and 85-90. So far so good, quite happy with this. Coming up with some slower traffic here, that might ruin our run, but so far no issue. But this is exactly what I was talking about with that issue. I'd come up behind some guy like this out on the open road and I'd back off to 85-90, whatever they were travelling at, and I'd go to perform an overtaking manoeuvre and it just wouldn't happen. I'd lose all power and I'd have to back off and reset, and so I'd be caught behind chaps like this with a very interesting project on the back of his car. He's either bought a new toy or broken down, one of the two. Straight lines, but we are giving Elisabeth her trial, and so far no problem, no issue.
I don't think I'm going to get around this fella. It's just this road's got too many winds and turns and things. So I might get up here and we'll turn around and we'll give Elisabeth a bit of a workout on the way home. Well, that was a terrific test for Elisabeth. Very happy I didn't encounter my problem. Hopefully the issue is rectified. Let's give Elisabeth a little bit of a squirt on the way home. Since we are in a 100km/h zone, we can do 100km/h, I suppose. Maybe we see how long it takes to get Elisabeth to 100km/h. Let's do a 0 to 100 test somewhere down the road here. There's nothing behind us, so I'm just going to pull up here. I'll come to a dead stop, and then okay, let's foot to the floor and take Elisabeth to 100 and see how long it takes. I'm guessing I won't be quick. Yep. Have a little bit of wheel spin there. But Elisabeth is a 2-litre automatic, so no power machine by any stretch of the imagination. And we're nearly there. There it is. There's 100. So, however long that took. As you can see, she floats along at 100 quite nicely, which is good because most of the driving we do in Elisabeth is out on the open road. She spends most of her time at 110, 100km/h. We take her for runs as well. That is the speed alert on the GPS speedo I'm running from. I'm not going to tell you what that's set at, so I'm going to be telling tales. So quite happy Elisabeth is quite comfortable at that speed. Yeah, like I was saying, most of Elisabeth's time is spent out on the open road, exactly like we are here, at 110km/h, comfortably sitting on about 102km/h at the moment. Starting to slow down here. We've just hit the town limit, so we're going to slow down here to 80. Again, sometimes as I come in off the open road and slow down into this 80 zone, I would encounter that issue with the car dying and bogging down that I believe was at a distributor. Again, hasn't done it now. Into the city limits. Just. This is the street I live in. Home we are. Well done, Elisabeth. You've done marvellously well. Very, very happy. Home again. Quite happy with Elisabeth's test drive. I do hope this video came out of the test drive okay. Rubber bands. Rubber bands.
Well, here we are back from our test drive, and what a great test drive it was. Thoroughly enjoyed myself doing that. I was grinning from ear to ear. So much so that I actually took Elisabeth for another drive, and I've got about 30 miles of testing done on her now. She didn't misbehave once. My issue didn't reoccur. So I'm going to say that changing that distributor was a great success. It's just changed the drivability, which is great. Now, this is my first time at making a video for YouTube, so do me a favour, give me a like, providing you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see a few more, but the most important thing to do is to get out there and enjoy driving your classic car. Get out there, do some miles, make some smiles. Hooroo!